Hey guys, this is Furman with Be A Bite, and we're going through some more comics this week, like the other weeks. Yeah. So there's a lot of new comics this week, and I say new because most of these have the title All New in them, which is really weird. But I don't make marketing choices over at Marvel, so first one I want to talk about is All New Hawkeye by Jeff Lemire and Ramon Perez. Jeff Lemire, I've talked about him a bunch of times, and I keep talking about him. But I mean, he's good, guys. I promise. He's also working on Old Man Logan and Extraordinary X-Men and Descender, all right now. He's probably working on other stuff we don't even know about. Ramon Perez, he worked on Hawkeye, the one right before this one, also with Jeff Lemire. So they worked on the older Hawkeye, not the one with Matt Fraction. That one's very good. The one after that, which lasted like 5 or 6 issues. But it's still continuing with this dynamic between Kate and Clint. What's really cool about this issue is that it's jumping in time. There's plenty of time spent in the present and then 20 years later, which isn't something I really expected from a Hawkeye comic. But so far it's been really cool. It's definitely going to be focusing on the relationship between Kate and Clint. You know, Hawkeye and Hawkeye. This strained kind of parent and daughter relationship, yet she's older now, so things could be changing and she's going to be changing. You're really seeing Kate outgrow this team thing. I don't want to say outgrow, but maybe just she's moving in a different direction. And it still actually does have to do with those 3 children they saved in the last arc where Jeff Lemire and Ramon Perez worked together. One other really cool thing is that they're still making Clint's hearing aid, his hearing disability, prominent in the story. And of course it's very important to showcase characters with disabilities as well. And I think they've done it really great, especially back when Matt Fraction and David Aja, not trying to hijack Jeff Lemire's spotlight, but they did really, really wonderful. They did one issue of Hawkeye and where Clint's hearing loss was just completely there, and it took them months to be able to write that one. And I'm really excited to see where this heads because you're able to see the beginning and the end of their relationship, but it's all that's in the middle, all the stuff that's in the middle that really matters, and this sold me right away. So the next comic book, I don't actually have the physical of it. I borrowed it from a friend because I forgot to buy it at the comic book store, even though I was very, very excited for it. It's Superman American Alien, written by Max Landis, who wrote the screenplay for Chronicle and American Ultra, and with art by Nick Dragotta, who you should hopefully know from East of West. And I didn't actually know he was the artist because I have this terrible habit of just reading my comics without even knowing who's doing it. And I was like, dude, this is totally Nick Dragotta. And it's weird to see him here because East of West is such a different world than just, you know, Smallville. And Max Landis has said that these are not really, it's not going to really be a big story altogether. It's not going to have an overarching plot, but it's going to be a bunch of short stories that have to do with the different moments in life that made Clark who he is. And we get a lot of these origin stories, and I'm really kind of burnt out on them. But this is the story after the origin story, and it makes me really interested to see where it's going. In this one, you see young Clark kind of learning his powers, learning how they can be dangerous to people and how they can make him a social pariah. You see the doubt, you see the pain that he gets from feeling like an alien as he is. Yet, you're still getting those moments of love from his parents. There's a part where Martha's literally holding on for dear life with Clark, and there's Papa Kent, who's getting an airplane to kind of fish his son out of the sky. And we see, you know, Lana in there, we see some of his other friends from school. It really reminds me of this one video. I don't know if everybody's seen it. I will post a link down below. Raising Dion, which was a short story, and it's also a comic book, but I haven't read the comic, of a single mother raising a superhero and how many difficulties must go along with that. So I'm definitely buying the rest of these. I think you should too. I'm really excited to see what has shaped Clark, and the best part is that he's still such a kid in these comics. Next thing is All New, All Different Avengers. Yeah, it's a great title, right? This is written by Mark Waid, who's very famous for his Daredevil run, with art by Adam Kubert, who's a huge name. He's done so much. He's worked on stuff like Wolverine, Spider-Man, Ultimate X-Men, and also Mahmoud Asrar, who has worked on All New X-Men and Nova. Now, the beginning of this it's funny. You know, it's got Sam Wilson as Captain America, it's got Tony Stark as Iron Man, it's got Miles Morales, the other Spider-Man, and it kind of has him teaming up and showing how this Avengers team is going to be forming and how these different kinds of lifestyles are going to interact with each other. I mean, you've got Sam Wilson, who's taken a lot of flack as the new Captain America, Tony Stark, who's always been this rich guy and out in the open, and Miles Morales, who's just a kid. You don't actually see, spoiler if you haven't read Thor, Jane Foster, who is Thor, and you don't see the Vision in this just yet. But the book is actually split into two parts, kind of. And the first one has these characters and what looks like to be the first big villain in the arc. The second part is the one I really enjoyed, which has Nova and Miss Marvel. And it has them kind of being idiots because they're teenagers. And it's really fantastic to see such genuine writing. And there are some really hilarious moments in where like most teenage boys, they will see a girl do something fantastic, and then they fall in love with them like teenage boys, like they are. Little different though when they have superpowers. I don't know how much that changes it, but I'm sure it does. I'm really excited to see the dynamics between, characters like Sam Wilson and Iron Man, who are so much older and experienced, with Nova, Miles Morales, and Miss Marvel. So you get these little kids working with these not little kids. So I'm really excited. I keep saying really excited because I don't know any other words, but I'm going to be checking this out still. Next thing is something I had to include because I really, really love this character. All new Wolverine. This is written by Tom Taylor, who did the Injustice comics, with art by David Lopez, who's worked on Captain Marvel and X-23, appropriately enough. So, full disclosure, I totally love Laura Kinney, X-23. I think she's a fantastic character. She was created by Craig Kyle and Christopher Yost. She was actually introduced in the X-Men Evolution show, but eventually got her own comics. She was in Innocence Lost, Target X, and then she moved on. She was in NYX, and then she found her way into New X-Men, written by Craig Kyle and Christopher Yost, which is actually really, really fantastic. It's a little hard to find, so good luck. So, yes, automatically I'm going to be buying anything with X-23 in it, but what's really cool about this is that they're still going along with the theme that, Laura is really battling with this idea of having to be a killer because she was raised to be one. She's been gaining a lot of humanity because of all these relationships she's had. She's in all new X-Men. Her dad just died. Basically, her sort of dad, her clone dad. Her dad, Wolverine. She's a clone. Yeah. Makes sense, right? Comic books. I mean, she gets the new suit, which is exactly like Wolverine's. And the comic actually involves Angel, who she's had a romantic relationship in New X-Men. She had a romantic relationship before with Hellion, and for somebody like Laura, who was raised to be an emotionless killing machine, to be in a relationship, it definitely brings up a lot of stuff for her. And of course, if Laura's a clone, what else does she have to find in the comic? She has to find clones, so Clone Wars, but not the Spider-Man one. Alright, and this last thing for real that I want to talk about is actually Alias by Brian Michael Bendis and Michael Gaydos. Now, I know that's not something new, but by Friday, we're going to be watching Jessica Jones on Netflix. And I'm incredibly excited for this because this is such a fucked up character. And I love her for it. I love that character because she is screwing herself over every single second, just like most of us are. Relationships, her work, her feelings towards the Purple Man, and how she left her superheroing behind. Superheroining. Is that right? I'm not really going to talk about it too much. I'm just going to say, if you can buy it and read it before November 20th, that'd be really great. If you can get it and read it, it's definitely going to open up a lot of ideas for the show to either answer or not answer. I don't know how it's going. But considering how fucking good Daredevil was, I'm only expecting the best out of this. Alright, so that's all the comics we have this week. Well, there's actually a lot more, but I didn't buy all of them because that's like $1 million, and I don't have $1 million. If I had $1 million, I would... Oh man, I don't know what I'd do with that money. I'd probably buy a lot more books. Don't follow in my direction. Yeah. But what you can do is subscribe, check out our website, follow us on Facebook, on Twitter, and have a great night, morning, weekend, day, whatever, whenever you're watching this. Yeah. Bye.